Before I get into anything of the making of this video, please don't go out of your way to harass anyone involved in this situation or anyone that I mention in this video. I just want to clear up some things and explain my side and my experience with Odyssey 10 and clear up a lot of what's been going on. And again, this video is not coming in any sort of malicious light or malicious intention to get back at Odyssey. I just think that him not taking full accountability isn't fair to me and doesn't shoot me any justice at all. And that's what makes me feel pretty saddened by this situation. I'm glad Odyssey is back on his feet and doing better mentally, but it's still unfair the way me and Hyper have been treated this whole thing. I do want to start off by saying that this video is not scripted, so I might be a little splotchy in my wording or a little weird with my wording. I'm not good at putting my thoughts down on paper or verbally addressing things, but I'm going to do the best I can. As a lot of you know, and what's mainly causing the situation is the way me and Hyper made the document and the way we phrase things and not providing enough in it, which is why I'm here to explain my full story with Odyssey. I know there's plenty of other people out there, a few other people out there who wanted to call Odyssey out too, but were too afraid to do so. But I'm here to give my story and how things could have been said and done a lot better. And again, there's no golden ticket to go out of your way to harass anyone that's mentioned or involved, Odyssey included. I think harassment is very fucked up, and that's something you shouldn't go out of your way to be doing. It does not make you a better person than anyone else involved in this situation, so do not do that. Anyways, I will go off and start off saying that to Odyssey, I'm really sorry for mislabeling you as a groomer. Me and Hyper had the wrong misconception. We thought grooming wasn't just a sexual based term. When re-looking into it, it is a sexual based term. We thought grooming had to do with manipulation or creating emotional connections with people just to take advantage of them, which you were still doing to me. You are very aware of that. And yeah, grooming was not the right word to use, and I'm still really sorry for all the knives pointed at your throat calling you a groomer or pedophile. That was undeserving and totally wrong of me and Hyper to both call you. With that being said, I do recommend that you check out Hyper's community post. We both worked on that. We're both, again, really sorry for how things were misconstructed. With that being said, I'm gonna start explaining some things and showing screenshots of my experience and with my experience with Odyssey. I won't go too deep into me and Odyssey's DMs because I don't want to paint anything out of context, because yes, I did delete all my DMs with him, but it wasn't out of the malicious intent to paint him as a bad person. I was just really scared at the time, and all I wanted to see was blocked message. I also won't bring up much of how he was in VCs because he doesn't remember how he acted in them. Hyper was the first to actually point out Odyssey's behavior because of how aggressive he got in VC, because he'd always scold me or always break down and then yell at me, and it was scary. And that's where Hyper first was hey, I don't think what Odyssey is doing is okay, you okay, this and that. Hyper only made the document out of safety. He didn't like seeing Odyssey treat me like that. And he also didn't want to see other people being treated that way, because his behavior in his Discord server was not something you should be seeing by a 23-year-old talking to his fan base consisting of younger people. I'm actually going to show a screenshot, and this was said between Snowball and Hyper's DMs. Again, don't go out of your way to attack anyone. Snowball didn't do anything wrong in this situation, so don't go after him. This screenshot was within the conversation Snowball was talking about in his video, where he was telling Hyper that, hey, grooming might not be the best word to be using in this situation, which he was correct on that. We should not have used the word. We should have looked more into the word and definitions and this and that. But I think Snowball pretty much clears everything here well in what he said in this screenshot, so I'll read it out. Snowball says here, "We're just gonna go in a circle. I also want to make it very clear you and Miles are still very much the victim in this situation. While I don't agree with the term grooming and being used, it is ultimately your decision. I really don't want to make it seem I'm defending Odyssey, so I'm really sorry about that. I hate what Odyssey has done to you and Miles. He is a grown-ass adult who should have known better than leaning on kids to be his fucking therapist and putting all the stress and pressure onto y'all. And I very much agree with what Snowball said here, because just because, like, me and Hyper made a mistake with the document and a mistake with the situation, it should have been approached differently. But it just feels like very degrading that people are just excusing Odyssey's actions as if he didn't do anything wrong when he still did things wrong. Odyssey says in his video that he's extremely embarrassed for what has happened, and he still takes full accountability for his actions, but not once did he address what he's actually done to me and the harm it has caused to me. And he also excuses himself as a manipulator when manipulation very well happened when we were both still talking. What I'm about to show you is him admitting to his wrongs and his actions, but I do not see him address any of this publicly. So let me read this out for you guys. Again, don't witch hunt whoever this conversation was between. Understand that what I did was wrong, to the fullest extent, and I shouldn't have done what I did. Yes, I was in a very bad spot in my life in terms of my mental health, and I shouldn't have used that as an excuse to what I did. I know Miles was going through a lot at the time since he told me stuff regarding his past. I didn't mean to dump issues onto him like that. I just needed someone to talk to. He did give me permission to do so, and I took advantage of that. I have no plans at the time, and even now, to commit suicide. What I meant by disappearing was leaving the internet, but I could see how it looked like I baited that, and I take full responsibility for it. I did not intend for him to feel bad. The same goes for manipulation, as I was not thinking straight during all of this, and I have no ill intent regarding any of it, and it is my fault in the end that I did all of this. And I have to take the consequences of my actions. I had no malicious or ill intent for what I did, but I could see what I did had bad effects on him. I don't recall the times I ever yelled at Miles or anyone else at the time. I'm still not sure where that came from. Maybe I'm just misremembering since that all happened. I've been dealing with my mental health in a private manner. I stopped venting in public. I tried moving on from them, but things kept coming back, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. Even in terms with the people calling me dad, I asked people to stop doing that since late October. This, of course, still doesn't excuse what I have done. I could send Miles an apology through here if you want me to. He does deserve one after what I did, and I have to own up to it. It sucks because he says he understands the full extent of what he did was wrong, but he doesn't admit the manipulation or him taking advantage of me once in the video, even though he said he'd take full accountability for what he's done, and he's embarrassed by it. I would have been fine if he'd mentioned any of it, but he just seemed like he wanted to clear his slate. The reason I didn't find any of what he was saying genuine back then is because he would say things like these. If one day ex-friend randomly decides to DM me, I'm just gonna tell them straight up what they did, then tell them to fuck off and go find someone else. Be depressed all you want, and you shouldn't have done that in the first place. And when I was shown that screenshot, it hurt because he knows that I have depression. He knows I have diagnosed high depression and diagnosed high anxiety. And for him to tell me that I can be depressed all I want behind my back to someone else really hurt to see, even when I thought he was being genuine at first. The other screenshots shown are just him being extremely careless, like him saying, like, did he think I wasn't gonna come back to YouTube because of one thing I did? He emotionally hurt someone who's 5 years younger than him. He's practically almost a developed adult, and he put all of this onto a 17-year-old at the time. That's not fair. That's not right. That's not right of him to do, and for him to act and be all careless about it really hurts to look back on. And I understand not being in the right mental headspace, but that doesn't give you a right to emotionally hurt someone and act like it's okay afterwards and pretend that you didn't do anything to harm someone else emotionally that you very well took advantage of. That's not okay in the slightest. And him just talking about, I may come back and do something in December, I'm not sure in the moment, or him saying he means nothing to me now, really, really hurts. Like, it hurts. And again, yes, I understand being in a bad mental space and like not thinking straight, but does that really excuse any of your actions or any of the emotional harm or the emotional trauma that you caused on someone? Especially being 5 years older than them, you should know better than not to do that. Everyone goes through things, but it still doesn't excuse your actions. And it wasn't just me or Hyper going out of our way to maliciously paint the guy as a bad person. He's not innocent. He's done wrongs. Like, Masons wanted to expose the dude. Scarf encouraged it. Like, people in Content Farmers, which was the group chat name at the time, wanted to call him out for his behavior. It just so happened that me and Hyper didn't handle the situation correctly. And even on the right, where someone was explaining their story with him, saying that they have an unfinished script and everything, it hurts. Like, people, like, either one way or another, Odyssey would have been called out for his disgusting actions. And yes, the document was poorly made. It was poorly worded and could have been worded a lot better. But even then, it still doesn't excuse his actions. He still did wrong. And it's like very upsetting and very tiring just seeing everyone just treat him like he didn't do anything wrong to begin with. When that, like, why would me and Hyper lie about someone just to say something about them? That's not who we are. This screenshot I'm showing now is after his apology and after finding out what he said behind my back with it. And I say here, like, believe me, I care about him and I wish no malice or harm upon him, obviously, but I don't know if I can believe his words anymore after him basically admitting to using me because he really needed someone to talk to, and took huge advantage of that, which he did. He put me, I was already going through a bit back in October, November, around the time me and Odyssey talked, and he, like, put me in such a low spot, and it still hurts to look back or think on. Well, he did clear up that he wasn't suicidal and had no plans on committing or anything. He would constantly put this pressure on me, kind of implicating that he was, saying things like, this was all just a phase. I knew it. It meant nothing, didn't it? And then I would be constantly questioning him, like making sure he was okay and stuff. And he was all like, maybe I should disappear so you have one less thing to focus on. And like, it put so much pressure on me at the time because I didn't know what to do. I was already occupied or like in a call that he was able to see because it was in a server we mutually shared and stuff. And he always tried grabbing for my attention one way or another, and the way he did it was stuff like this, and it didn't sit right with me, and it still doesn't sit right with me. It scares me, and it still scares me. I really cared for him then. I really tried my best to make sure he was okay with what I could do, but I'm not like a professional. I'm not a therapist. I can't just magically fix everything. And I feel like he was so reliant on me for that. I know he says he wasn't. I know he wasn't trying to, but it still felt like that in my shoes from how he was treating me, how he was talking to me, and just overall his behavior towards me. It wasn't right. And I'm aware that he had other people to listen to him, and he was just trying to reach support for his mental health. But the way he took it, the way he treated it, the way he treated me, again, from my perspective, try to see it from my perspective, wasn't okay. I don't believe it's still okay. I want it to be okay. I've been trying to tell myself it's okay, but I can't, like, this whole thing hasn't sat right with me this whole entire week. He does say here that, I'm like reading what he says. He says, and I quote, I of course still admit fault for my wrongdoings, and I only hope that you genuinely understand what you and Miles did to me was also wrong. And yeah, what we did was wrong, but what Odyssey did was still wrong too. And the only reason I want to come out and address everything and explain how I felt with Odyssey is because I feel like no one is understanding that he still did wrong. His actions were still wrong, and he never said anything about them being accounted for, and it rubs me the wrong way. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't feel like I have justice in any of this. And I obviously can't tell him now. I obviously can't reach him about it now because he doesn't want to talk to me or Hyper, which is totally fine, totally understandable. I understand that, but I still deeply want to go ahead and share my side of things for the last time. This is going to be my last time mentioning it too. It's really hard for me to speak up about these things, which is why I never came to doing it myself when Hyper and another friend or person wrote the doc and helped get that out to help speak for me, to keep me safe, to keep others safe, to let people know that his behavior wasn't okay and how he treated me wasn't okay. But I never spoke up for myself because I've always been scared to, and this is still scary. I'm still scared doing so, but I just want to get like this out there. This isn't here to paint Odyssey in any more bad light. No one, like, people can do bad things, people can do shitty things, but people aren't monsters. They're not monsters. People learn, people are still growing, and I understand that. And I understand Odyssey was in a very rough patch at the time too, but I still wish that I had my justice or feeling heard, because I haven't felt heard. And I want to be heard. That's why I'm doing this, and I still hope that to an extent you guys can understand. You don't have to respect me, you don't have to support me, of course, but I at least just want to put myself out there and speak up for myself. I won't go further into explaining because I'm starting to like choke on my words. I'm starting to get a little antsy about this. I'm already antsy about this being a video, but this is as much as I can speak out. I could say more, but again, I don't have any proof for any of it happening, and you know, Odyssey just wants like to see that being proof with evidence and stuff, so I can't really speak about how I felt about certain things because I don't have like any of the calls recorded or anything, so I can't really like speak for myself there, I guess. I'm also going to address, and I'm gonna say this. This is for Brown Scarf. This is for what I'm about to say is for Brown Scarf. Scarf, if you're out here and you're listening to this and you like obviously agree or like you understand what Odyssey is saying, then you can realize that you're doing the exact same thing that me and Hyper put Odyssey in the position of people calling him a groomer. Because for you to go out of your way to make a post with little context, little evidence of grooming actually happening between me and Hyper is actually really infuriating to me. You got all of your friends, to hop on me in Doodle Den, you got everyone to jump me, and Mations was babying Hyper, saying that, oh, like, he can't think for himself, when everything in me and Hyper's relationship is perfectly fine and perfectly healthy. It's understandable if you can't respect the age gap, I get that. I understand if it looks offsetting to you, but nothing illegal is happening, nothing sexual is happening. I'm asexual, that shit scares me. Like, like, the fact that you did that, Scarf, was pretty scummy, and I honestly expected better from you rather than just doing that. So you should think twice next time. And Mations himself, who said that he believed he used the wrong wording in this situation, but won't publicly say anything about it. Unless he did on Twitter, then yeah, but this person says, I think it's only grooming if they're just going to use them. I don't really think it's considered grooming based off the screenshots. Could someone explain what's happening in the OSC? Mation Bomb says, I believe they used the wrong words in this situation, and I apologize, as the situation was new at the time. If you're gonna falsely make assumptions, then you can publicly correct your wrongs. So I'd appreciate if people did that instead of throwing around heavy accusations like grooming and pedophilia around. Don't make the same mistake that me and Hyper did with Odyssey. That was a mistake on our part. This video isn't intended at all to stir the pot on any occasion or anything at all. I want to put this aside as much as Odyssey does, but I still wanted to speak up for myself, even if this is the last time I'm going to do so. I just think it's unfair that people are treating as if me and Hyper are the only ones wrong, when Odyssey is also held accounted for. Both sides were wrong. Both sides are growing and learning from this. I'm sure we're both going to continue and learn from this. And I just want to put everything behind us this one last time. Again, please go watch Odyssey's video. I'll have it linked in the description. And please also go check out Hyper's community post as he apologizes and takes accountability for everything that went on. And I will say myself that Odyssey, I'm still very sorry for the way that we handled the situation. I'm sorry if this happens to stir the pot. This is not what I want. I just want to speak on behalf of how you made me feel. And that I can't privately tell that to your face, so this is the way I have to do it, unfortunately. But yeah, again, really sorry for how everything came down between us, and I wish you luck in the future, and I hope for you the best. And once again, like, to the viewers, like, you are all, like, in your right to not support me or respect me. I understand that, but please understand where I'm coming from and understand my side of things, instead of just taking one thing, running with it, going to harass the other. That doesn't make you a better person than anyone else, because a lot of the stuff that I've been getting tagged in, a lot of the things I've seen people say behind my back, including old friends, it really hurts. And I hope one day that you guys feel remorse for what you've said and what you've done. I will be keeping comments open this time, but if there's any transphobia or anything that's remotely considered harassment, I will be deleting it. So thank you. That's all I have to say, I believe. Thanks if you sat through the whole thing and you listened. This isn't something I normally do. This isn't something I'm confident in doing, but I wanted to do it anyway and get my voice out there, and hopefully it's heard.